Hi, everybody. I want to welcome you all to the Alpha 7 Trading Academy um, webinar. My name is Jay Yu. In this webinar, I'm going to go over the intraday trading in the new thunder and tumbleweeds landscape. And if you're hearing me, it's probably because, or if you're hearing some rumbling in the background, okay, I've got a real nasty thunderstorm coming my way. And it's ironic that the whole concept and the principles that we want to embrace is the belief of being aware of what lurks beneath and planning ahead. And the Doppler radar weatherman says nasty thunderstorm coming, so I am planning ahead and doing this webinar, pre-recording it right now, just in case I do get hit and the power goes out. So a little bit about myself. My name is Jay Yu. I've been trading the markets for, wow, over 15 years. I started a site called Underground Trader back in 1998, and through the years I've run a virtual trading desk and trader training for over 10,000 traders worldwide, from fund managers to your mom and pop investors to active traders, swing traders, etc. and etc. I was voted Forbes Best of the Web 4 consecutive years in a row under the active trader category. I've released 4 published books by McGraw-Hill, John Wiley, Bloomberg Financial. My latest book, Way of the Trade, was just released by Bloomberg and Wiley, and this course is loosely following Way of the Trade, but it's a culmination of all the years that I put into developing these methods through the crazy internet mania, day trading hype, boom bust cycle back in 99, 2000, the whole internet mania, through the bull markets, the bear markets, the decimalization, the HFT era. Been there, done that every single day at the pulse of the markets, every single trading day for the past 15 plus years. So I've come around full circle as well, and my journey's been documented, like I said, in my books. My last book, Trading Full Circle, was actually published in German just as well. They like me, they love me in Germany. And I've been quoted, interviewed, mentioned in all the financial periodicals and news channels, CNBC, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Financial Times, so et cetera, et cetera. I've written articles for Active Trader Magazine. I'm a contributor to Benzinga.com, as well as TradingMarkets.com, Trade to Win, and basically this is my life. I live and breathe and sleep the markets. So I'm very honored to have been given the task of taking all of that and putting it together into an exclusive course for Alpha 7 Trading Academy. And this is something that I've always wanted to do, because even with my books and videos, okay, I think what people tend to lack is the initial process of building the foundation first and foremost. And only once you get that foundation built, okay, and all the building blocks and all the components are there, okay, only at that point are you really susceptible to actually absorb the information and the content. And then once you are able to absorb that information and content, then the real trick is to apply that information, to apply the system. And it's very easy to get lost just from reading a book, okay, just from looking at charts in a book or on a screen. I think it involves a more lateral approach, something that's more organic and progressive, and yet caters to someone who is able to follow at their own pace. And what this all boils down to is cultivating your own evolution. And evolution is a word you really, really want to keep close to your heart, because evolution is growth. And the only way you can grow and improve, okay, is by cultivating it. And as you improve, you create more templates, you gain more experience, and you go through the 4 stages of evolution, which I'm going to cover in a little bit. But let's move forward from here, and let's look at what tends to happen with a lot of traders when they start off or when they're starting back up again. All right. Too many traders, they'll start with the very, 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 very basics and tell themselves, all right, I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to take it real, real slow. And then before you know it, they find themselves up here. Okay. And so they're in there, playing, thousands of shares of a Tesla, or they're playing Apple or Amazon and leveraging up with the options and getting burnt, okay? And they end up falling once again. And the whole concept of the markets, the whole philosophy of the markets is to hide that transparency. So the market wants to make it seem like it's easy. The market wants to make it seem like, hey, anyone can do it. A stock can only go up, it can only go down. Make your bet. And the market's willing to give you a dime, a quarter, knowing that it's going to take back a full dollar, okay, or $5. It won't do that. And so what tends to happen is traders view just this, the surface. They view the surface and they figure, I'm going to conquer this, but they have no idea what lurks beneath. They see the profits, okay, they see how easy it appears, but they have no idea that in order to get up to here, you got to build a solid, fortified foundation. And that's what is missing with training programs, with traders who figure, hey, you know what, I can get all this stuff on the internet for free. The best teacher is the market, and bullshit like that. Excuse my language, but there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. And with this course, I want to make sure that you guys have the most relevant, most up-to-date information. Okay, most of the examples are going to be examples right now, right here, right now. Okay, and I'm talking about the markets now, today. I'm not talking about how trading was 2 years ago, how it was 3 years ago, or even last year. Okay, because the market is always shifting, it's always mutating. All right, and I like to call it mutating rather than evolving. Okay, because evolution implies growth. A mutation doesn't change the core; it just paints on different facades and cysts, and basically it's the same thing with a different face. So remember this. Okay, this is what you're often taught first and foremost. Okay, the markets. Oh yeah, the markets. Well, they all, everything is correlated, and if the futures move up, then stocks will move up, and then the options will move up with it. So just watch the futures, and the stocks will rise with the futures, and the options will rise with the futures. Okay, and so all you gotta do is watch the futures, and then you can jump in on the stocks. Simple, right? And this is what your general correlation used to be. And it does happen. Okay, it does tend to happen. However, you also get a lot of this nowadays. Futures will rise up. Okay, your lead indicators, your benchmarks will rise up, but then you'll see stocks selling off. But not in a sense that it's a clear sell fade. So the futures are rising and the the stock's just selling off, selling off. No, the futures will rise, the stock will drop. Futures pull back, stock will pop. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And then the options will, as the volatility dries down, they can go off into their own little world. So we see a lot of fragmentation that's out there. And this is pretty much the result of a thunder and tumbleweeds market. That's the landscape that I call the markets that we're in right now, thunder and tumbleweeds. And that is because of the infestation of these algorithm and high frequency trading programs. Okay, you can't beat them on a one-on-one situation. In a dark alley, when you're up against an HFT program, you're not going to win. And it's foolish to place yourself in harm's way. And some of the strategies that worked for many years, okay, up until 2010, these guys learned the hard way. Rebate traders, they got demolished because how are you going to fight? How are you going to beat an HFT when they can split the spreads and hit all the dark pools, and have faster access, more capital, more rapid fire? You can't. So in that situation, you can't bring a knife to a gunfight. And because of these programs, they like to leapfrog over each other. And whatever you hear about high frequency trading programs, okay, the reality is this: they're in it. Everyone is in it to make money. Everyone is in it to take that liquidity when it's thinned and to sell it off. But the high frequency trading programs, they have access. Okay, they have co-location, they have speed, and in the past they've had the ability to cross-lock the market completely. They've had the ability to spam the quote quays and pretty much stall out all the quotes so that you're stuck with delayed quotes, not knowing what the actual market is. Now that's kind of backed off because of the regulators finally coming around. But understand that with the algorithm and the HFT programs, they've hit a critical point, okay? And then, just like anything, like the Gartner hype cycle, all right, they also imploded. So now what we're left with is these thunder and tumbleweed landscape climates, and what they are basically what that produces is very real market trading climates. And these trading climates are not based on, how much the Dow is up or down on the day. Okay, they're not based on market performance, on what the benchmarks are doing. They have very little to do with them actually. And I think that as a trader, you understand what I'm talking about. The Dow can be up 120 points, but man, there's no momentum, there's no liquidity out there. You always hear, oh, the volume's light today, the volume's light today. Right? And there's a reason for that, and most importantly, because of that, it's hard to find liquidity. It's hard to find momentum and follow through and robust price action. And that's what we call a dry climate. And wet climates are the opposite, where there is so much momentum, so much liquidity, prices are flying, okay, and everyone can get a piece of that action, almost everyone. So these market climates are like the wind. When you try to tell an investor, an investor who doesn't want to trade, okay, you try to explain to them a market climate, they're not going to understand what you're saying. They can say, well, the Dow was up 150 points today. Find something else to do with your life. But the reality is, like I said, it's like the wind. When you look out the window, you can't see the wind, but when you get out there, when you step outside, you can feel it. It is the same analogy. So let's meet the opposition. Who are the participants? And I've broken them down into 4 categories. You have the institutions. Those are the big money, mutual funds, pension funds, large hedge funds, private equity, with a minimum of at least $100 million in discretionary capital. These are the tanks, the bazookas. So when the institutions want to buy, the prices are going to move up. When the institutions want to dump, the prices are coming down. Okay, these are the dinosaurs, and they don't walk in the sand without leaving footprints. And in the days of old, the institutions were a lot easier to track, to monitor, and follow. Okay, but now you have the computerization, the rise of the machines, and you have the second tier, which is the algorithm and high frequency trading programs. Now, these programs, and keep in mind, the institutions will utilize these programs as well, but I consider them one entity when it comes to trading. So with the algo HFT programs, they have the advantage of speed. Okay, being able to throw up 20,000 bids and asks in a second. Okay, no human on the planet could do that. That speed. They have rapid fire, and they have capital. So the algo HFT programs are kind of like the Gatling guns. Okay, then you have the professionals. And what I'm talking about when I say professionals, I'm referring mostly to market makers, fund traders, prop firms, for the broker dealers or the big banks. All right, and the reason why I have the sniper image up there is because they have access to order flow. They're working orders. So when you have an order to dump 2 million shares of Microsoft, okay, you definitely have an advantage, and you can pinpoint, at what point you want to, work it, price it, front run it. And I didn't say that, but yeah. All right. And so the snipers have that advantage, the professionals. And then we have the retail traders. And the skill levels vary greatly from with the retail traders. Okay. So let's just say the weapons range anywhere from, steel chairs, shoes, frying pans, slingshots, knives, guns. Well, you get the picture. All right. So these are your opposition. And in a wet climate, what you have is the most active participants. So you get all four of these jumping in all at once, and it's a free-for-all. But in dry climates, the volume thins out, and the algorithm HFT programs, they become the apex predators. And so one of the mistakes that traders tend to make is trying to administer the same type of strategy that you would in a wet climate during the dry climate. You see what I'm saying? So, rebate traders who used to load up on 20, 30,000 shares of a position, well, in a wet climate, okay, you're gonna have enough robust action and liquidity to be able to unload that and get your rebate and eke out a profit. In a dry climate, you're just a sitting duck, and these algo HFT programs are just gonna drill you like a Gatling gun until you stop out. And I can't tell you the number of horror stories I've heard from some of the best traders, that I know, that I think in the world. Because in all reality, the advantage is taken away. In all reality, no matter how skilled they are with a knife, they are in a gunfight with a Gatling gun in a dark alley. And that's a position you don't want to put yourself in, ever. But understand something. You actually can bring a knife to a gunfight. Okay, as long as you understand that the markets are rarely a one-on-one duel. The markets are populated with participants. Now, whether they participate or not, that's going to determine the climate. And as far as these climates, they can happen intraday, or they do happen intraday, wet and dry climates, and on a macro level. And by utilizing these climates and the terrain, okay, you can not only survive but thrive with the right training and the weapons. And I'll give you a little clue. Can you bring a knife to a gunfight? Absolutely. Just remember this: My enemy's enemy is my friend. So going to the 4 stages of evolution as a trader, okay, I've broken them down into the acclimation, conditioning, seasoning, and specialization stage. Now the acclimation stage, like I said, is where you want to absorb and build the basic building blocks. Understand the essence of the mechanics and the structure, okay, of the components, of the price action, and you want to get right to the core, the heart of what moves prices. And I'm not talking about the news, okay? I'm talking about being able to track the supply and the demand, to be able to track when the tape's being when the tape's being painted, okay? To be able to track how certain price levels will react. It's all about reaction, cause and effect. And so on a molecular level, being exposed to that and not having to deal with any of that other stuff, all the labels and this and that, but getting right to the core and the essence, that's the important part of the acclimation stage, guys. Okay? Like I said, people try to swallow and eat too much all at once. And what happens when that happens? Indigestion, right? So the acclimation stage has to be done properly. You got to follow a certain type of template so that you cultivate and you harness the evolution. Okay? You nurture it. And then from that point forward, that's where you get to the conditioning stage, where now the knowledge that you've gained, okay, takes shape. It takes form in methods. And because you understand the core essence of how and why prices move, okay, now you're provided the tools to be able to track them, to monitor them, okay, to plan for them. And the conditioning stage is all around. You gradually improve your skill sets. You embed proper templates through repetition. You reinforce, you fortify your confidence, improve your resiliency, you foster consistency, and that familiarity takes away the anxiety. It dulls it, okay? You don't lose anxiety completely, okay, but it becomes more manageable because you become more familiar. And that's human nature, guys. There are things about human nature that are good and conducive to trading, like adaptability, and naturally there are elements of human nature that are that will decimate your trading, like panic. Okay, panic, anger. We go over all that stuff too in the training. All right, and then your comfort and threshold levels expand. And as you get through the conditioning process, you enter the seasoning process, where you are continuing to improve fluency. And yet, at this point, you start to gain an innate awareness and intuitive foresight, tempered with razor-sharp precision reaction skills. And your intuition grows more refined, and your skill sets get integrated. And you start to focus on optimizing. Because at that point, you realize, hey, you know what? I don't need to spend this much time doing this, okay, to get this result. Let me focus on the A plus B, which is the process, and let me focus on optimizing that. And as I optimize that, not only will I get a more a higher form of C, okay, but I should get it quicker with less risk. You see what I'm saying? So the whole process starts to get optimized. And that's your seasoning stage, where you have things down, you've repeated the templates to a point where now you're able to change them around. You're able to step back and recalibrate or add, okay, or and I wanted to save this for a little later, but I'll just say it now, okay? And innovate. See, that's when you know you are evolving, because then you get one of these beautiful byproducts called the innovation. Now, as you get through the seasoning stage, now you enter the fourth and final stage, which is the specialization stage. And this is where your skills are at a high precision level, finely tuned, a professional, where you're able to spot something, watch a chart, watch a sequence on the level 2 screen, and spot the most smallest minute tells that are going to give you the heads up before that transparency plays out minutes later. You're able and comfortable enough to play larger size shares. You're able to scale in, scale out with very little market impact, like a ghost. Like a ghost. Okay, that is the highest level of trader, the specialization stage. Why do you think they call them specialists, right, on the auction floor? Because they're specialized. But unlike those guys, okay, you don't have control of an order book, okay, or order flow information, but they're hacks. And what we're trying to do here with the training is to get you to that level. I believe that most people have it in them, but it takes training, the right templates, the right conditioning, and most importantly, you're going to have to make the effort. I can't tell you the number of people who've told me that they're hungry, they have the desire, and they're hungry. All right, and unfortunately, all that effort was for naught, because their interpretation of showing your hunger and desire was sticking around and watching the screens even tighter and pressing the buttons even faster and in more quantity. And they completely left out the main part, the preparation. Okay, once again, goes right back to the whole iceberg analogy. They focused on the surface level, shallow stuff that anyone can do. Anyone can hit a buy button, guys. Anyone can hit a sell button. Okay, but what lurks beneath? To armor yourself, to refine your weapons, to do your daily preparations, to do your daily scanning and monitoring, your pre-market preparations, to know the sequences, have those down cold. Okay, that takes effort. That takes training. All right, so you're going to see what I call the rifle charts, okay, as you get more and more evolved throughout the course. And the rifle charts are the culmination. This is the shallow surface part that pops out of the water that you see in my books and my videos and stuff like that. Okay, and the rifle charts take advantage of stochastics, moving averages, and Bollinger Bands. Very simple, common, literally household appliances, household products, right? But the way they're configured and used is like taking styrofoam and gasoline and creating napalm. Okay, they're the best tool to be able to visualize trends, to be able to visualize the momentum, to be able to visualize the bumpers, potential targets, to be able to visualize like a Doppler radar, impending price moves, and most importantly, to be able to monitor and track what I call perfect storm patterns. And these are the most powerful high probability patterns in the market. And instead of rushing straight to the surface of the iceberg and trying to swallow all that from the top down, okay, we work it the other way, from a lateral approach, and build it together piece by piece, by component by component. And this is how you're going to digest this stuff, and it's going to make more sense. Now, in addition to the perfect storms, you know, I incorporate trend lines, candle patterns, candle sequences, price action, and I take the most relevant of all those types of styles and put them all together into a methodology. And I call that methodology the katana. So having a katana in a gunfight, okay, it's a lot better than a slingshot. So let me go over with you just one of the basic types of trades, which I call a basic plan A, the fail-safe fallback. It's a core engine strategy that you're going to learn organically. It's an adaptive, selective, self-calibrating strategy, provided you have the rifle charts and you understand and know how to use the rifle charts. I put the probability around 80% or higher, okay, on the setup playing out for profits, and once again it has to be applied by traders who have already worked their way through that foundation building process. This is a gateway strategy that is needed for more intricate strategies and the ability to innovate moving forward. Alright, so let's go forward and take a look at the basic plan A fail-safe fallback strategy. Alright, this is Tesla, and what's happening right now is we have a 1 minute 80 band slip on the rifle charts, taking 500 shares short at 166.70. The game plan on this is for a mini inverse pup oscillation down, channel tightening. So we gauge that 5-period moving average right there. That acts as a cap on any bounces. All right, and anytime it bounces, it should hold that resistance. And our target's going to be the next bumper, which is going to be the white line, which is the 1 minute 20-period moving average. The mini inverse pup is now formed, and you see how fast Tesla starts to get momentum to the downside. And we can already measure, look, it's right now Tesla's trading at what, 166.60s. Okay, the target bumper is already down near that 166 area. So right off the bat, we can go ahead and start planning to put in some limit orders to cover our shares. That's right. The ability to foreshadow, okay, know what lurks beneath, and plan ahead. That's the name of the game. With the rifle charts and the methods, I've already got the transparency that I need. And so with the short, and knowing how Tesla can panic, and that's definitely one of those stocks that can really panic, we already have our target, and we're already placing the orders to go ahead and cover down here. Near that 166 area. Okay, so the orders are already being put in. Okay, 165.96, and that's closer to where the 1 minute 20 period is. And also the second chart next to it is the 5 minute 5-period moving average. That's also a channel tightening bumper area to keep an eye on. And as you can see with Tesla now, with the 1 minute, okay, Tesla hasn't broken into a downtrend. What we call this is a reversion type trade. And here comes the panic flush. Okay, so when Tesla was sitting at that 166.50 area, we'd already planned to start covering around that 166 to 165.90 area. You see, and that's what it boils down to, guys. Okay, once again, people are focusing on the surface. They're focusing on, oh, Tesla's trading at 166.60. All right, what should I do from there? You got to be focusing on what lurks beneath, and then planning on what lies ahead. And there's your trade. 500 shares short from 166.70 down to 166, 165.96, and 165.85, like a catcher catching with the catcher's mitt, planning to cover. Okay, and there you go. That's your basic fail-safe plan A. And here's a better graphic of that. And you see how smoothly that played out? Okay, and setups like that happen every day. And on Tesla, okay, once you get advanced enough to trade it, okay, the plan A fail-safe, and there's more rules and filters that go with that. Once again, you're seeing just the surface. On a stock like Tesla, you're going to get anywhere from 5 to 8 signals a day. But it all boils down to being able to apply the methods. First, learning the methods, and then being able to apply them efficiently. And that's what the training is about. And Plan A is just a very simple strategy, but ultimately, all roads lead to the perfect storm pattern. And the perfect storm, and like I said, how ironic that you can hear the rumbling in the background. Okay, this is a sign. Perfect storm is very, very powerful. And when you get a perfect storm breakout, you get parabolic moves and on all time frames. Okay, now with a perfect storm, you have to have a setup, a pattern called a pup or a mini pup, and when they are aligned simultaneously with other time frames, 3 or more, that's when you get that cumulative multiplier magnifying effect, and all of a sudden that chop that you see constantly, it can happen for hours, all of a sudden that chop no longer chops. You get the straight, robust follow through to the upside on a perfect storm breakout. You get the straight follow through, trap door, panic, twist the knife, blood curdling grind to the downside. No wiggles, no wiggles. Okay, perfect storm breakdown. Perfect storm breakdown. Perfect storm breakdown. You see that? It's a beautiful thing. So in the course, ultimately, we're going to get to the highest probability setup, how to find them, track them, play them, master them every day. That's what you're going to see on the shallow surface. But in reality, to get to that point, you have to build the foundation. And this is what it's all about, the depth. If you're hungry, do you have the desire? Are you willing to put in the effort? If you are, then we're here to help you, okay, to go ahead and make sure that that effort is piped into the right direction so that you can build that foundation. See, to get to here, you have to start here. And like I said, I've always wanted to create something that was comprehensive, unique, and lateral, and very, very, very efficient and optimized. And I can just keep going on with these words. Relevant, structured, progressive, and organic. And that's what it all boils down to, guys. The 4-level video course, over 30 hours of videos, over 700 slides, live action caption videos, all meticulously designed, structured, laid out in a lateral, progressive, and depth engaging approach to organically cultivate your evolution towards becoming a seasoned trader, so that you are able to trade in a hedge fund, so that you are able to thrive, survive, okay, and grow and evolve. And it's the greatest feeling in the world when you are learning and evolving once again and you're seeing the results. So remember, know what lurks beneath, plan for what lies ahead. This exclusive video training course is only available to Alpha 7 Trading Academy. And if you want to pursue the path of evolution in a structured, organic, progressive template, proven way, this is what you ought to consider. All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Sorry about the tech difficulties with the storm, but like I said, you know, all things happen for a reason, and the parallels of the concepts and the essence is striking. Know what lurks beneath and plan for what lies ahead. Thank you, everybody.